He's a legend in the streets. Everybody in the street game, they know MC. They know about Mike.
Michael got the heart of gold. Michael will give you the world. You feel what I'm saying, this man?
Mike's a hustler. He's one of the main hustlers in the neighborhood. You know, get with Mike. If you want to get out of the ghetto, you want to get rich, you want to have a Cadillac, you know, you want to have a gold chain, you want to have a Turkish rope, couple of earrings, and pretty girls, you know, get with Mike.
A godfather to the game. You know what I'm saying? A standout guy.
He was a straight pimp, okay?
This cat was wearing tailors. And he was coming to school and he had a different look and he was shaking dice. And they like, who that? Oh, that's Carter. That's my people.
He just had that leadership to tell you, okay, look, I need this, this, and this to be done. And it would get done. Even though they, at the, later realized, why did I do that? Because Mike said do it.
One of the rebels of the family, if I could use that word, we don't know where he got off track.
Hi, my name is Michael Carter. I was born in Louisiana in 1959. My mother was Letta Mae Vernon. When I was first born, I came out of the womb blue-eyed and blonde hair. It was a problem from the beginning for me. Back down in the South at this particular time, in 1959, man, that was unheard of, So, of course, word went around that my mother had been tipping around, So she hooked me up with her sister, Louise E. Carter, and Richard Carter.
I can remember when we took Michael from Louisiana, from his birthplace to be raised in Los Angeles by his Aunt Louise and Uncle Carter. And he's leaving a family of 6 brothers and sisters and then coming up to be an only child, which kind of gave him a unique situation in our family.
And it was a local pool hall down the street on Western and Vernon. And a lot of the players used to come in there, and I was very intrigued about the players, They had the big cars, the fine women, and people listened to them and they did what they said, So it was one of my best friends yet to this day, Rick Ricardo, right? He took me up under his wing and he used to blow the horn at school in a brand new Rolls Royce, and I used to jump the gate to come get with Rick. And, Rick Ricardo, that's the man, Back then they called him Rolls Royce Rick. All the other kids looked at me in envy, right? They said, man, how you get to roll with Rick all the time, all the players love you, right? But I was so intrigued, And so furthermore, we started going to back and forth to the pool halls, and we had, he was doing a game they called crack game. That was the insurance fraud, and he used to put us in the car and everything, and he was claiming he was our father, and he'd have us in the car, and people yet to this day wonder why my neck and back hurts all the time. I tell them, well, motherfucker, if you have 40 or 50 wrecks a week, your neck and back will be hurting too, motherfucker. That's what the prison doctors used to always ask me. Why the fuck all your neck and back is always hurting? But that's another story. We'll talk about that later on. But anyway, old Rick used to take us out. He used to give us a bucket of chicken when we came back. That was the first time I learned how to screw somebody. But the thing about it is the game was to be sold, not to be told. So we earned the game, and further along down the line, Rick finally started giving me some money other than fried chicken, for my payment, right? So at this time, I applied the same game that he had applied to me. And I went around the whole neighborhood, gathering up all the guys in their cars and their mother's cars, and started having accidents, And I worked them like a Hebrew slave, you dig? Until one of them said, hold it, man, you're beating us out all our money, man. What's going on? This must be more to this, right? So I finally, after I made them pay, you dig what I'm saying, for what they was learning, I said, okay, well, I'll pull you in, I'll, tell you the real deal, and I started giving them a little bit of money, right? So this went around, this took flight like, a wildfire, everybody in the neighborhood, now everybody's cracking cars, as they say.
We would get our friend down the street who had the good license. We would take him and use his license, wreck the car into somebody who had insurance. Our car never had no insurance on it, and have him go sign the case up, pretending like he was us, the one that had the accident. And then we would go to the doctor for him and treat at the doctor's office, treat for him. And then when the settlements came, give him, half of the settlement, and we'd take half. That's how the crack game all started.
We had the job cleaning up with janitorial service. So Michael liked the idea of picking up a check. He liked the money, and go to school with $20 bills, at that young age, in his wallet. His mama would tell him, Michael, now you leave the money home. Michael would take the money out anyway. He would leave with 20 and he'd come back with 60.
And Mike would have the casino going in high school. I mean, literally, shooting dice, 3-card Molly, whatever he's gambling.
Hustling, going to cut grass in the neighborhood. He did that for a short time, but he wasn't no manual labor type of person, He found a way to get somebody else to cut the grass. He'd go get the jobs and pay them.
And then I was intrigued by the gambling, so I started learning how to shoot pool because we used to sleep in the pool hall. I mean, we used to give our phone numbers out like that was our home phone, Hey, baby, call me at home, it'd be the pool hall, So we'd come in, all the players was hanging out, and I wanted to be a part of that anyway, So at one point I told the guy, I said, well, you know what, man, I know y'all know something else about these dice and he's shaking the red card. It was the 3-card Molly game. I said, man, I want to learn how to be a cheat. And they said, well, why you want to learn how to be a cheat, I said, well, I don't like risking my money. I want to use somebody else's money. I don't want to fuck with my money. So I was always thinking, about how to have it up on a guy, right? So it was an old guy named Old Man Lee. I never forget, right? He said, boy, if you're really serious about this gambling thing and you want to beat up on the whole neighborhood on this gambling, meet me in front of the pool hall, on Thursday, right? So I'm standing out in front of the pool hall on Thursday. At this particular time, I ain't number like 13 years old, right? Old Man Lee, it's raining outside, it's storming. Old Man Lee passes by in his brand new Cadillac, and don't say a word. I really don't see him because the haze, and he's in the Cadillac that I don't know of, right? So that, the storm is coming down and everything, and I'm freezing to death, right? So, days go by and Lee don't pick me up. I said, well, this cold motherfucker, he tell me to meet him in front of the thing, he gonna give me the game, and he never picks me up. Second day come by the same thing, but I want this game so bad that I ain't going nowhere. I'm standing in front of the pool hall, freezing rain, right? Ain't nobody there but me, So I don't want nobody up on me because I want to be able to beat everybody, right? So, these are secrets, right? So I had to get the dough first. That's what it's all about, right? So anyway, so I'm sitting up there and finally, he pulls up. I say, hey, man, Lee, what kind of shit is that, man? You leave a motherfucker out here. You tell me you're going to pick me up and everything. He said, well, I wanted to see how bad you wanted the game, kid. He said, but get in the car because it looked like you're ready. So he takes me to a guy named Webster. Webster was a well-known cheat. He got his fingers cut off in Las Vegas for finding crooked dice. So I was intrigued by Old Man Webster. And he sit up in there and he told me all the tricks of the trade, him and Lee. And the last thing he told me, he said, a lot of guys may claim to be players and hustlers, but they might be your best tricks, so try them too. Don't be scared to try them. Because a lot of guys will, profess to be this, that, and the other, but sometimes they'll be your best mark. Because the game that I'm giving you, is top shelf game. And I want them to be your targets as well. Don't dodge them. So I took that and I remembered that, So when I got in the street and I started doing my thing, and other guys was talking about, yeah, I'm with it too and I'm down with it too, I would try them first just to see how sharp they was. And Old Man Lee was right. He was right on the money. So then now I'm beating everybody in the neighborhood with these crooked dice. I got crooked cards, I got crooked dice. I'm a well-known cheat in the town. I'm robbing everybody. Don't nobody know what's going on. One day I roll up on the Crip gang, rolling 60s, right? And everybody in the neighborhood thought I was a lunatic because I'm firing these crooked dice on the whole game. But I remember what Lee always told me, some of these guys going to be your best Vicks, right? But one day I messed around in what they call spill. I spilled the dice and I got called cheating. And they beat me up pretty bad. I was bloody from head to toe. They said, we've been hearing about you being a cheat, this, that, and the other. Now you finally finna get what you got coming. I was beat senseless, unconscious, blood everywhere, right? So I get up from the ground, I dust myself off, they take my money, I go back home, and I find another way to beat them. Because Lee said never give up.
A lot of people don't understand that. I think the hostility and the anger and the resentment, all that stuff stems from, the upbringing that our parents can tell us what to do and give us advice, but they're not the individuals that are out here having to walk to school, having to interact with these different people. So it's easy to tell you what you should do and what you could do, but when you're out here dodging bullets, people have guns and knives and they're robbing and all this drama is going on, you basically have to dig deep for some type of survival skills in order for you to make it. And that's what it's all about. South Central LA is survival of the fittest.
I'm a little bit older than him, right? I told him as I got older, they thought it was a joke. I said, man, I'm a pimp, man.
They say, what you mean you gonna pimp? I said, I'm gonna pimp, man. I don't know what it is. It's something just came across me. I'm gonna pimp. They thought it was a joke.
Okay, in high school, we all got kicked out, I guess. Me and MC then moved to Hollywood, where we started pimping girls. We had a bunch of hoes on the stroll. We made a living like that. We did that for, like I said, a couple of years.
Well, MC fuck around here, man. He got out of school. He said, well, nigga, I'm gonna steal these Jews. That shit is too slow. I said, the man that lasts is the man that wins, okay? So I'll tell you at the end of the race, nigga, what happens, okay?
So then after that, we started doing what we call pickpocket. We was whiz, we was shots, right? And we'd get on the bus and we'd go down to the airport, right? And we'd pickpocket everybody, and you'd have a guy you would work with, and he'd turn one mark, and another guy would shoot him off for his hide, being your wallet, right? So we took that to another level, and we took that on the road.
And it was a hell of an experience, because my mother was like, where you going? I mean, I'm getting on the highway with Mike, you know what I'm saying? And we getting ready to go cross country. She's like, what y'all gonna do for money? Well, we're gonna hustle all the way there. My mother was like, no. I'm like, I'm gone. I just packed my stuff.
Mm-hmm. I'm talking about waking up in the morning and probably committing 10 to 20 felonies in a day. 10 to 20 felonies continuous. Like you get to the gas station, you're trying to break the gas station. You go to the store, you're trying to get back room to backstage. You get to the next place, there's money missing. You in somebody's pocket. You shooting every possible thing. You see a nigga that's open, you shoot your broad at him. She's talking to him. You trying to move. It's like continuous crime. You know, if we get stuck, you still in the car. It's like 1, 2, 3.
When he was traveling a lot around the country, you didn't hear about it. You just all of a sudden heard, well, Michael was there. Like, when did Michael go to but he was there. So
we got organized to at a point that we had actually paid a bail bond before we left.
Oh town. Yeah, Salim. Remember Fat Salim?
We would go in before we would leave town to go get more money. We would take all our jewelry off and leave it with the bail bondsman just in case we didn't make it. We pay. Now you know that's cold when you paying the bail bondsman in advance. Think about that.
Our operative word was playing, you know. We didn't want to never cause a fuss. You know, we didn't want to never have no big shootout type of thing because we were players and we lived up to that name. You know, we felt proud to be players.
Before I knew it, Michael would have a couple of thousand. 6 months later, a couple of thousand turned into 100,000. And I mean, he was a man, like I told you, of many talents. He knows how to make money.
Then the diamonds came, you know, and I guess that's our trademark, you know, is those diamonds, right? So we started beating all the little spots in town. We had a little thing they called the trim trill, right? And we used to sharpen it up at the local gas stations and such, telling them that we was doing a science project. And what the trim trill was, it was a small file that would fit into all the locks on the jewelry stores, right? You know, so we would use that, you know, to get the jewels out the case, right?
And he would get me to go in and get the salesperson attention away from the cases that he was looking at, and I would drag her over to another case, and I would say, you know, can I see this? Yeah, I'm trying to buy a present for my mother, and then I would drag her over there while he would unlock the case and just clean this whole case out over here and lock it back.
We were all real small little kids, so we would get down on our knees and we would crawl behind the counters and such, and we would go in there safe while they was in there. You know, while we had balls of steel.
And then we would exit the store, so the managers, whenever, you know, they would come back and be like, well, Susan, why is all the jewelry missing? But the case would be locked, so it would be almost like she might have done it, you know what I mean? Because, you know, but then she would say, well, some young kids was in here, and it was like, Susan, the case is locked. You know, I mean, where's the jury?
We'd get the loose diamonds, we'd put them in cereal boxes, and we would run to the post office and ship them home right away so we wouldn't have the diamonds on us. So at this time, what we would do is we'd go to another town and do the same thing. And we'd hit 2 or 3 towns. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, a lot of the store owners didn't even report the stuff stolen because they were embarrassed. You know, because how do you explain, you know what I'm saying, $1 million worth of loose diamonds coming up missing and you don't know what happened to them?
You do not take the white folks shit, okay? You don't do that. No. And then they got sharp. Now they start learning how to fuck with checks and credit cards. He learned that. You don't do that either. They don't like that shit. You don't take their money.
And we wore the whole neighborhood out. We worked the malls. We worked all the jewelry stores downtown Los Angeles. So we had to take this thing on the road. And being the creative cat that I was, I set trends in the neighborhood, literally. You dig what I'm saying? I started looking on the map. I said, man, we getting too big around here. We got to start taking this show on the road, man. So we started using the credit cards that we would get from pickpocketing to get plane tickets.
Okay, my first jewel heist was with MC. I had always dreamed of going on a jewel lick, and then one day I was able to meet him again after so many years in junior high school, and we went out to the Valley, I think it was, like in Encino somewhere, and we did a jewel lick, and my first lick with him was for $100,000 worth of jewelry, and I kind of wanted to stuff the stuff in my sock and not tell him what the actual weight was, and I said, no, I shouldn't do that because, you know what I'm saying, he didn't want to show me where the money was, but we had a lot of that going on.
We would get off that plane, literally, our eyes would open up and our mouth would water, and we would take off on a town like you never seen before. I'm talking about a terror. Everything came up missing, from diamonds to mink coats, to portraits, to oriental rugs. I mean, we stole, and that's what hyped us up, and that's what kept our adrenaline going. We're kleptomaniacs, we're kleptomaniacs. We should have been seeing a sight.
Even family members, they don't always tell you when there's trouble going on. And when he was in trouble before I knew what was going on.
We would get busted for stealing jewelry, and we would go up under an alias name, like say for instance, my name is really Sidney Porter. We would go with Sidney Jackson, similar to my real name, and then we'd be up under the alias. So when it came down to our parents knowing, they wouldn't know nothing. We would have the den mom, they call her the den mother. She would be the one that go bail everybody out. She was the one that knew about thievery and all that kind of stuff. And she would go down there and get them out up under the alias name, and the police went down the way of getting back, would never go to court.
We had crime parents in the clique. Exactly. Certain parents accepted the fact their children were criminals.
Yeah, old cranky breasts.
Certain parents allowed us to. And they kind of like, as long as they got a jewelry or a ring or a watch or got that new car, they was cool. So, I mean, I used to use my man Shawnee Mac's mom and stuff, and I would go under, and I would cap, Alan Gordon.
Yeah, exactly. Right,
and I'm 16.
Right.
And she come get me out. And see, back in the day, you could jump bail like.
Our thing was to stay playing at all costs. If we can play the system and don't have to give them a dime, you dig what I'm saying? I couldn't care if we had $200,000-300,000 in the bank at sometimes, and another stack in a safe deposit box. But if we can stay playing being the operative word, that's what it was all about. If we can play the system, well, we gonna play. And we would sit there and to wait for our parents to come with our birth certificates and such. You dig what I'm saying? Opposed to getting out right away, giving them $10,000 and the bail's bombing coming. Fuck them. We gonna sit right here and play like we juvenile till mama come. I ain't giving you shit.
There was a 10-carat stone, diamond stone, and a 5-carat stone. And him and some associates were in a hotel, and they were loud. Police came, took one of the guys in custody, and when they took him in custody, they found the 10-carat and the 5-carat. Mike came up with the plan that, well, nobody wants to go and get the 10-carat back. So what I'm gonna do is call down there and say, do you have my son in custody? Give him his name. And if you do, I'd like to know, did he have in his possession my wife's crystal piece and her diamond ring? And if so, I would like to send my daughter down to pick it up. And so I took my ID and went down and picked up the crystal piece and the diamond ring. Now that was a really big lick there. That was worth, wow, maybe 2.1 million.
So we started doing that, and we started going cross country and started stealing diamonds here, there, and we used to come back with the newspaper clippings, right? You know, and those were like our trophies. You know, we would come back and say, "Hey, I just hit for 500,000. I just hit for $1 million over here in Tennessee. I just hit for 200,000 in Detroit. I just knocked $1 million in New York." I mean, those were our trophy pieces at this time, right? And we had a little hotel we used to go to in Fox Hill, and we used to have little celebrations, and everybody would come into town, say, "Hey, the kids are back. The kids are back. And they got plenty of dough, they got plenty of diamonds, it's a party, you know that, right?" So we got the liquor going here, we blowing cocaine at this stage of the game, and everybody's pulling up in Rolls Royces, Bentleys, Ferraris, Benzes, Lamborghinis, and we was kids. I mean, some of us had to get telephone books seriously to look over the steering wheel to drive these things. You dig what I'm saying?
We took care of the whole neighborhood. We bought them all Fila suits and Gucci watches for Christmas. We bailed people out of jail constantly.
He would just pop up. You know, he wouldn't even call you and tell you, "I'm on my way." You know, he could be right there in the same town with you and say, "Hey, Michael, where you at? I'm here. I'll see you in 20 minutes. And maybe he hadn't seen you like in a year or 9 months. That's the kind of person he was. Just pop up, surprise you. You know, extraordinary. That's the kind of guy. And when he'd pop up in a long limousine stretch and have gifts for everybody. Take everybody out to dinner. Whatever you needed, he'd get it for you. You need a phone bill paid, rent paid. If it was cold, you needed a new heater furnace, he'd get it for you. And then he was gone. You probably wouldn't see him again for another 2 years. But that's Michael.
We didn't gangbang, you know. We wasn't Boy Scouts. We didn't go to church every Sunday. We stole for a living. That's what we did. We took shit. You know what I'm saying? And the thing about it, all the other neighborhoods, they envied us, you know, and they wanted to be like us. And a lot of them was jealous because we wasn't participating in the same thing that they was participating in. Because we wasn't about that. We was about money, class, you know? And that's what we did. We dressed well. We looked good. We had the finest colognes, the finest women, you know what I'm saying, the finest cars, and all the designer gear. Yeah, we were the ones that bought designer gear to the ghetto.
But always trying to keep up with Carter and them, because once we get when he buy the Cadillac, we buy the Cadillac, then he come with the Benz. The first young black, probably anywhere in America, to drive a German car.
We used to call him Money Making Mike. That was a nickname I pinned on him. In fact, the first mink coat he got, I drew it for him. He went and had the coat made a week later. In fact, the same coat that Ice-T wore in Ricochet was the coat that Michael bought.
Then about, I think it was about 1985 when the shit hit the fan, you know? And me and my partner, Shaky, we both got cracked at the same time. We were sort of like the pioneers of our crew, you know? And when we took a fall, it hit us pretty hard, you know, because he was in Nebraska and I was in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And we both got caught with diamonds, you know? So basically the crew kind of sort of started falling apart at this point. So I do 18 months and Shaky do a pretty long stretch, you know, and then I come home and, you know, I start organizing the crew all over again.
He would always say, he would always say, you know, call me lucky because I'm gone again. Whenever he would get out of the penitentiary, call me lucky because I'm gone again.
He was a jury thief, okay? That's what he was, a straight out jury thief. He went to trimming jury, then they went to fucking breaking cases and just ray-filling for the jury. You know what ray-filling is? That's robbery. Them white folks don't like that shit. They will lock your ass up for that, okay? I was not taking their shit, okay? So they was not mad at me.
And at this particular time, they had some funny shit going on. They said they had this shit called snatch and grab. And I was like, what the fuck is this snatch and grab shit about? We're players. I mean, where'd y'all get this shit from, you know? But what happened was it was so many of the youngsters that had came up while I was gone, and they really didn't have the finesse and the class that we had with it. So all they had to do was put a gun in their hand and a sledgehammer. And I was like, hold it, man. I really ain't with that. You know, we're about playing. You're taking away from our whole everything that we were about, right? But the thing about it was these kids knew that I knew where all the good diamond stores was. They knew where I knew where all the malls were. You know what I'm saying? So what they did, they proposed to me is just point out the stores, you know, get us plane tickets, and we'll bring you all the diamonds back, MC. Since you say this is against your rules and the regulations, you know, of the organization that you guys put together, I tell you what, tell us where the licks are, tell us where the towns are, get us the plane reservations, get us hotel reservations, and we'll bring you back the diamonds, and you sell them. Now, hell, I'm pretty clever at this time. I said, well, I ain't got to never leave the town, you know, so I said, okay, and I just came home from prison, and I wanted something soft to fuck with anyway. So I said, okay, you got a deal. I go to the map, I go to the chalkboard, and I explain them everything, word for word, what to do. Literally, we'd be in a hotel with the chalkboard in the corner, you know, and I'd be showing them the town. I'd be showing them the diaphragm, you know, of the store, you know, of the owners, and telling them how to work it, who to work, who not, where to park the car, etc. You know, it was a match made in heaven for me because I didn't have to go anywhere.
Oh man, this guy, he had me going from state to state doing robberies everywhere. And the reason why I think I really adapted to him because my mom, she always worked and she was always gone, so I really never had a male